Guys, everyone, please check your audio and video settings, please. Guys, respond in the chat box, guys. Please respond in the chat box, everyone. Please respond in the chat box. Am I audible, guys? Am I loud and clear, guys? Am I audible, guys? Am I loud and clear, guys? Perfect. I hope everyone completed Maven-based project development. Everyone completed yesterday's one. Successfully completed. Cool. Working with Maven is easy task or tough task for you? Able to manage with Maven work? Able to manage the work with Maven? Super, guys. Okay, today we are going to discuss why is nahi aa raha bhai? Nahi aa raha hai. Okay. In my device is not showing you have to search, boss. You have to search by selecting different categories. You have to search. If you are using latest version, you will get Eclipse ID. Okay. In yesterday's class, vehicle class implementation is not there. Fine, you create on your own now what is there in that. Vikas Srivastava, take a vehicle class, using auto-wide inject engine object and take a journey method and write some logic in that. If not there, what is there in that? Super, guys. Spring bean scopes, guys. Okay, now listen. So far, we have seen how Spring Bean can perform, IOC container can perform auto wiring based dependency injection, right? But IOC container is more powerful, guys. It allows us to keep Spring Bean class object in different scopes. In core Java application, we kept our Java object in different scopes. Local object specific to one method, right? Object to scope specific to one object. Come on. Static variable specific to class. Static variable specific to class. I want reply from you people, guys. Come on. Specific to class, guys. What do you say? Similarly, we can ask IOC container not only to create Spring Bean class object, we can also request IOC container to maintain in different scopes, guys. To maintain in different scopes. We can make the IOC container to keep Spring Bean class object in different scopes. And a scopes talks about visibility, na? Method scope specific to method, blob scope specific to open floor bracket and closing floor bracket, right? The Spring Bean scopes in 6.x and 5.x versions are Singleton. If no scope is specified, default scope is Singleton days. Prototype, request, session, application, WebSocket. These are the how many scopes we got? 6 scopes. If no scope is specified, what is the default scope? Singleton. Knowingly, unknowingly, these many days we worked with which scope? Knowingly, unknowingly, we worked with which scope these many days? Knowingly, unknowingly, we worked with which scope these many days? Singleton scope, guys. We worked with which scope, guys? Singleton scope. Is that clear? Singleton prototype request session application WebSocket can be used. These two scopes can be used in standalone application, also in web applications. But last four scopes are there now. They are applicable only in web applications and distributed application. And with RESTful applications, guys. RESTful application. RESTful applications are nothing but distributed applications now, boss. They are also extension of web applications, guys. They are also extension of web applications. Clear, boss? Okay. Super, guys. Tell me how to specify scope for the Spring Bean. To specify Spring Bean scope, we use the scope attribute in bean tag in XML driven configuration. But are we enjoying XML driven configurations nowadays? Are we bothered about XML driven nowadays? Are you thinking about that? No. We are thinking only 100% code driven configurations, right? Okay. To specify Spring Bean scope, we use at the rate scope annotation in annotation driven configuration. What is this? At the rate scope annotation. And the scope annotation is what, guys? Scope is class level, method level annotation. That means it can be applied on the top of the class or on the top of the method. Sir, class level I understood, guys. Because we use at the rate component to configure Java class as Spring Bean. There we mention the scopes to specify the scope, right? That's really nice. But why method level? Array, we make predefined class as Spring Bean with the support of at the rate bean method. Simply with the support of at the rate bean method, I want reply. So that Spring Bean I want to keep in a scope or not. That Spring Bean I want to keep in a scope or not. I want reply. That Spring Bean, I definitely want to keep in a scope or not. I want reply from you people, guys. For that one, the scope annotation is given method level annotation. I hope you understood my statement. I hope you understood my statement. Super, guys. Tell me now. Singleton scope is there, but we have a design pattern called Singleton class. We have a design pattern called Singleton class. I want reply. Scope is class level, method level annotation. Okay, now let us try to understand first Singleton class, guys. Let us try to understand first about what? Singleton class. Singleton scope is different. Singleton class is different. Are you listening my statement, boss? First, before understanding Singleton scope, I want to explain Singleton class. Single means one, ton means object. Singleton means the class that allows only one object in any given situation is called Singleton class. In any given situation, it does not allow more than one object. Max, it allows only one object. Such class is called as what? Singleton class. Such class is called as what? Singleton class. Super. Let's try to understand. We generally use scope annotation along with the component annotation and along with what? Bean annotation. So let it be, guys. What is singleton Java class? So singleton scope is different from singleton class. So that's why first we are spending time on singleton class, guys. Then we'll try to understand singleton scope, right? The Java class that allows us to create only one object in any given situation is called what? Singleton Java class is called as singleton Java class. Is that clear, guys? I want reply from you people. Is called as singleton Java class. Super. Okay. Sir, why I should compromise in singleton? Why I should compromise and use single object? I'll ask one simple question. Instead of creating multiple objects with no data, instead of creating multiple objects with no data, or multiple objects with fixed same data, multiple objects with the same data, or multiple objects with fixed data, or multiple objects with no data. It's better to create only one object. It's better to create only one object. It's better to create only one object and use it for multiple times. It's better to create only one object and use it for multiple times. Better to create one object and use it for multiple times. What do you say, guys? Is it not interesting aspect? Is it not interesting aspect? I want reply from you people. Super. Array, in Java, object creation is a costly affair, boss. In Java, object creation is a costly affair. I want reply from you people, guys. So it's better to reduce number of objects that should be created. It's always better to reduce number of objects that should be created. What do you say, my dear? Come on, I want reply. So instead of creating multiple objects for Java class, either with no data or with fixed data, or with shareable data, where memory and CPU time will be wasted, it is recommended to create a single object and use it for what? Multiple times. To use memory and CPU time effectively. CPU time is nothing but processor, boss. So in Java, object creation is a costly process, memory wise, CPU time utilization wise. So that's why it's better to reduce the object creation as much as you can. As much as you can. Understanding my statement, boss? Okay, now listen. Sir, I have a normal class. I created only one object for that class. Actually, class allows so many objects, but I created only one object for that. I'm not interested to create more object. Is it called singleton class, guys? No. Though class is allowing to create multiple objects, if you are adjusted and created only one object, that is not called singleton class, guys. That is not called singleton class. Are you getting my point? Muhammad Akib, I will give concepts. Please concentrate. Though you are trying to create multiple objects, you should allow me to create max of one object. You should allow me to create max of one object. Such concept is called what? Such class is called singleton. From my side, no issue with voice. Please concentrate. From my side, no issue with voice. Please focus, guys. Okay, now listen. This is very important statement. I want everyone to focus. This line, guys. I have a class that actually allows me to create multiple objects, but I am happy with one object. Is it called singleton class, guys? Is it called singleton class? I want reply from you. No. What is singleton class? Though class is allowing me to create more and more objects. Though Though we are trying to create more and more object, programmer is trying to create more and more object. The class should not allow me to create more than one object. Such class is called singleton class now, boss. Such class is called singleton class. I want reply. Okay, I will tell one small real life example to understand this in a better manner. Everyone focus. One government employee is there. He got a post in library department. Listen, everyone. Okay, library department. Sashi Kumar, I will introduce everything one by one. Can you focus on current topic? Please, Rababu. Please, things will come in order one by one. Control your excitement and listen the concept first. One government officer is there. He is not taking the bribe because he's in library department and no one is ready to give the bribe. That's why he's not taking the bribe. Do you think he is called as sincere employee? He is ready to take the bribe, but he is not taking bribe because no one is ready to give the bribe. Bribe means, under table amount. Okay. So when the employee is called sincere employee, the government employee is there in police department. The government employee is there in road transportation department. Government employee is there in revenue department. But he is not taking the bribe. Then he is called sincere employee, right? Are you understanding my statement? Even though programmer trying to create multiple objects, class should not allow us to create more than one object. Such class is called singleton class, guys. Are you getting my point, my dear? Super. See, though Java class allows us to create multiple objects, if you are happy with creating single object for that class, then that Java class is not called as a singleton Java class. As a singleton Java class. Okay, I'll take one technical example. Okay, I think everyone knows little bit of servlet. Servlet container creates how many objects for our servlet component class? Servlet container creates how many objects for your servlet component class? Servlet container creates how many objects for your servlet component class? Only one object. You don't know? Array, for our servlet component class, how many objects will be created? Only one object. So can I call that servlet component is singleton? Can I call servlet component class is singleton? Our servlet component class is singleton? No, not at all. Why? No, not at all. Why? Can you tell me? Class is not restricting you to create only one object. Servlet container is happy with one object, right? Servlet component class is normal class, boss. Any number of objects can be created, right? But container is happy with one object. Do you think our servlet component class is singleton? What is singleton? Though people wants to create more and more objects, but class allows me to create only one object. That class is called singleton, guys. That class is called singleton, right, my dear? Super. For servlet component class, servlet container creates single object. Though servlet component class allows to have multiple objects. So we cannot say servlet component class is singleton Java class. What is singleton Java class? Though programmer wants to create multiple objects, the singleton Java class allows us to create only one object in any situation. In any situation, only one object was. Super. Sir, are there any predefined singleton Java classes in the market? In the Java libraries? Yes, we have. One is java.lang.runtime is predefined singleton class. Desktop is another predefined singleton class. Logger is another predefined singleton class. Logger is another predefined singleton class, right, boss? Logger is another predefined singleton class. Are you listening my statement, boss? Sir, why runtime is given as singleton? Any reason? Array, in any Java, any running Java application, how many runtimes will be there? One runtime. Object of runtime class represents what? Java runtime environment. In any running Java application, how many runtimes will be there? One runtime. Right, boss? So, though you try to access runtime for n number of time, same runtime should come. So, to represent same runtime, one object is enough, na, boss? To represent same runtime of single application, one runtime object is enough. So though you try to create multiple objects, but runtime allows us to create only one object representing the one runtime that is there in Java application or super. And in one for one computer, how many desktops will be there? Only one desktop, right? Object of desktop class represent computer desktop, guys. For single computer, how many desktops will be there? Only one desktop will be there. So that's why desktop is given as what? Singleton class. And logger also same thing, boss. This logger object is there to write the log messages. In future, you will study about that. Yeah. Singleton. Single means one, ton means object. Okay, guys. To develop user-defined Java class as singleton Java class. To develop user-defined Java class as singleton Java class. Listen, boss. To develop perfect singleton class, I need 3 days time or 4 days time. And there are 10 doors are there using which we can create multiple objects and we have to close all the doors. But I cannot teach all the 10 doors of closing 10 doors of creating object because we assembled here not for design pattern course. We assembled here for Spring, guys. Okay. That's why I'm going to develop singleton Java class in today's class with the minimum standards. Perfect singleton means there are many ways to create object for Java class. We have to close all the doors and you have to open only one door. And in that one door, check the object whether it is already created or not. If already created, use the existing object. If not created, come on guys, create the new object. So that is perfect singleton. But right now I'm going for minimum standards, guys, because we assembled, there's a separate course called design pattern course, guys. There Java design pattern, J2EE design pattern, microservice design patterns will be discussed. There we try to develop the perfect singleton. Today what I am developing is what? Singleton with the minimum standards. Okay, tell me, boss. Whenever you want to make Java class as singleton, so we have to close popularly used door to create multiple objects for Java class. You have to close all the doors that are there to create object for Java class. Open only one door. In that one door, check whether object is already created or not. Already created, use the existing object. Not created, create a new object. Yes or no? Na? Okay, what is the most popularly used door to create object of a Java class outside the class? New operator. Come on, boss. Most popularly used door is what? New operator or not? Okay, whenever I use new operator to create object of a class outside the class, which constructor executes? Public constructor executes, right? If I make constructor as a private, can I create object of the Java class outside the class? Can I create the object of Java class outside the class if I make constructor as private? So that means the big door is creating for creating object is new operator. And I have closed that door or not? I have simply closed that door or not? Yeah. The first and foremost work is take private constructor. Come on, my dear. Take private constructor inside the class. What's the specialty of private constructor? Is it visible outside the class? No. It is visible only inside the class. Inside the class, anyhow, we control number of object creation, boss. Super na, boss? Right. First point is that. Next one. Okay, now listen. You will take one static reference variable. What reference variable? Static reference variable to refer that single object that is created. Inside the class, you take one private static reference variable to refer the single object that is created. Why, sir? Array, somewhere I am going to check whether object is created or not. Array, to check, first of all, there should be a reference variable pointing to object. If that reference variable is pointing to object, I will stop creating object. I will use existing object. If reference variable is not pointing to any object, I will think that no object is created. Even that single object is not created. I will think about creating object now, boss. Come on, guys. Okay, that's the second one. Take private static reference variable. Number three, you take one public static factory method. What method? Public static factory method having singleton logic. That means in that reference variable, if the reference variable is already pointing to object, return the reference variable. That means we are referring already created object reference. If that reference variable is not pointing to single object, okay, you create object and return the object. Okay, this is what method? Public static factory method. Public method means visible inside the class, outside the class. Super. Static means most. Outside the class, I can call without object. I can call directly on the class name. Inside this method, singleton logic is there. It is checking whether object is already created or not. If already created, it is returning existing object reference. It is returning existing object reference or not. If not created, it is creating a new object. So to make Java class as singleton class, these are the three minimum standards that we need to follow. Number one, keep the private constructor. Inside the class, keep the private constructor. Number two, static reference variable of current class type. And static factory method having singleton logic. Static factory method of singleton logic. What's the first one? To close the big door of creating object using public constructors from outside the class. That's fine. Okay, why this static factory variable, guys? Take private static reference variable, private, because that should not be visible outside, guys. Why? After creating single object, come on, guys, we will refer that object with this reference variable. So that by checking this reference variable, we can conclude whether object is already created or not. If not created, in static factory method, we can create a new object. If already created, we can happily use existing object reference. If already created, we can use all existing object reference. And static factory method, singleton logic means what? In this reference variable, object is already created or not. If already created, come on, my dear. If already created, return the existing object reference. Not created, create a new object. Super. So now let me take the use case, guys. In my company, 30 employees are there, and I want to see all employees using same printer. So if I take printer as a class, it's better to make printer as a singleton class. If I take printer as a class, it's better to make printer as a singleton class. I want reply. It's better to make printer as a singleton class. I want reply, guys. Is it not interesting, Rababu? Is it not interesting? Yes. Okay, now let's go to using core Java setup and Maven. I'm going to develop singleton class. All right. I want to make all the employees of the uh, company using the same printer. Though budget is there to purchase multiple printers, I don't want to see people wasting money because all people can manage with a single printer. So that in that situation, printer better to develop as a singleton class, boss. Generally in software company, we don't need printers, right? It's like paperless world nowadays, right, boss? So that's why I want to see people using single printer maximum times. Generally, when interviews happens, boss, that time only people take the printouts to take the interviews of job seeker who comes to company for interviews. But nowadays, that also they are managing with the tabs, boss. Yes. Okay. Now listen. Me when I fun. It's a standalone project only, guys. Archetype iPhone. Right now, I'm not teaching singleton scope, guys. I'm teaching singleton Java class. Sir, this latest is not coming. This list is not coming. See here what? Different. Make sure that all catalogs means from different places, it will select everything and it gives. If we start for standalone application, web app for web application. We know that. We know that very much. Okay. What is this, guys? IOC pros. What's the project number, guys? Six. Six. Singleton Java class. But I am developing this one using core Java. Using core Java setup. com.nt.main. Save finish. com.nt.main. Save finish. Okay, guys. Project is created now, boss. Hey, okay. Now here we have to say yes. Lots of people will forget to give yes and they will say, my project is not coming, my project is not coming. Yes, boss. Okay, first what I should do? How to update the Java version? What version? I think 20. Yes, boss. 17, guys. Right click, guys. Come on. Even update the project. New package com.nt.s10. Super, guys. In my device, Maven dependency is not coming after creating project. They will not come, guys. They will come after adding them in POM. Uh, See, guys, Maven dependencies will come when you create Maven project, not for normal project. Maven dependencies will come when you create Maven project, not for the normal project. Use common sense, Babu. Right, guys. Tell me next one. Class. Okay, I'm taking printer here. Here is my printer, guys. Printer.java. What dot Java? Printer.java. Super. Hmm. Here is my private static. Here is my what, guys? Private static printer instance. Array instance is one reference variable, guys. Generally, static variable, final variables will be taken in uppercase letters. Here also, I'm taking the same thing. Static reference variable of singleton class to hold to refer that single object that is created. Single object that will be created. Single object that will be created. Superna boss. Perfect. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Array, single object will come into picture when you stop, when you close the main door of creating object through new operator outside the class. That can be done through private constructor, private printer, systrace, what this? Systrace, printer colon, zero param constructor. What is that, guys? Private. Perfect. Zero private constructor, yes. A big door is what? A new operator to create object of the class outside the class. That door is closed by using private constructor. Closes the door of creating object outside of class. Creating objects outside of class using public constructor, right? Using new operator, that's better. Using new operator. Next one is static factory method. It's a public, guys. Public static, what is there? Printer get instance. Array static factory method. Yeah, public static printer. Okay, now listen, guys. It's a if it is not pointing to, it's a reference variable. If it is not pointing to address of the object, it holds what? Null. It basically holds that null. Understanding my statement? If instance double equal to null, guys. Okay, if instance double equal to null, return new printer off. Return new printer off. Array, why return new printer? Here I will say instance is equal to, if object is not already created, instance is equal to new printer off. I created object now, boss, and I'm returning the object. I'm creating object, I'm returning the object. Yes or no, na? If instance double equal to null, instance is equal to new printer. Return instance. Okay, suppose first time object is already created, then instance points to what? Address of the object, not the null. At that time, get instance method is called. At that time, get instance method is called. Tell me what happens. Is the instance null? No. It returns existing object reference now, boss. Third time this method is called. Is the instance null? No. It returns existing object reference now, boss. That's fine. Sir, why are you taking this method as static, public static factory method having singleton logic? Public method. Array, outsiders should have one option to access this access methods of this class so that he can start the process of object creation. There should be one door where he can access that single object, or I can create that single object. So that's why public method. Why static? Why static? Array, you should be in a position to call this method without object of printer class. Why? He's calling method to create that one object of printer class. How we can call with object? He's calling that method to get the object or to create the object, right? So you should call this method without object or not. Come on, making sense or not? Making sense or not? It's something like this, guys. Something like this. You want to join in a company. Company said, you pay 1 lakh rupees, then we will give job. And we are joining to get the earn money. How we can pay money to company to get the job? It's meaningless. It's meaningless. And if someone is asking money to join in the company to offer you job, that's a fake company. That's a fake company or useless company. Why? Companies will get the projects will generate the revenue. That revenue, in that revenue, 10-20% they will put. 10-20% they will give as a salaries. If they are collecting money from job seekers, okay, they don't have projects. When what you do by joining in a company where projects are not there. Clear? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, right, boss? Listen, guys, this variable name is your choice. This method name is your choice. But I'm wantedly taking get instance, guys. I'm wantedly taking an instance because your variable name is instance. Now that's why get instance. Instance is nothing but object. Instance means object, boss. Printer dot get instance. Are you getting my point there, guys? Super, boss. Tell me next one. Business method. Business method. Come on, I want reply. Public. Array. Public wide print. String MSG. Array, printer is there to print the message, na boss. System dot out dot println message. System dot out dot println message. Is that clear, guys? System dot out dot println message. Okay, business method to print the message. To print the messages. Okay, sir, why are you taking this one as a static, a non-static method? Anyhow, you're using this method, we will get single object. On that single object, I'm going to call this method. On that single object, I'm going to call this method, right? Okay, this is Singleton Java class with minimum standards. Singleton Java class with minimum standards. Singleton Java class with minimum standards. Okay, guys. New class. New class, guys. Tell me. Singleton, Singleton class test. Where is this main method? Where is this main method? Where is this main method? Okay, guys. Now let's test it. Let's test it. I'll try to call this get instance method more than one time to check whether it is creating single object or multiple objects. Shall we try that? Invoke methods. Invoke get instance method for multiple times. What, guys? Yeah, tell me, guys. Printer P1 is equal to printer dot get instance. Printer P2 is equal to printer dot get instance. Printer, okay, two times, guys, fine. Three times also you want to have a three times. Okay, get instance. How many times I call this method, guys? Three times. I want to check all the times it is referring to same object or different object. First of all, tell me, one object can have one reference variable or multiple reference variables. One object can have one reference variable or multiple reference variable. One reference variable or multiple reference variable. P1 dot hash code, P2 dot hash code, P3 dot hash code, right? Every object is identified with this hash code. If three objects are created, three hash codes will be there. Suppose if all of them are creating single object and P1, P2, P3 are becoming reference variable to that single object, P1, P2, P3 are becoming reference variable to single object, all of them should give me same hash code. All of them should give me same hash code. Come on. One object can have multiple reference variable. If get instance is creating three different objects, okay, P1, P2, P3 should give me three different hash codes. Okay, in though I call three times, only one object is created and remaining two times existing object is utilized. Okay, P1, P2, P3 are reference variable pointing to single object. So all of them should give me same hash code or not. All of them should give me same hash code or not. Super guys. Tell me. Sys out and how to check all these are pointing to same reference variable. Array, what is the difference between equals method and double equal to operator? Equals method and double equal to operator. Any difference is there or not? Any difference is there or not? Yeah. Equals is for content verification. Double equal to is for content verification. Come on. Double equal to is, sorry, my mistake. Double equal to is for references verification. Whether given two references are pointing to same object or not, right? And equals method is for content verification. Equals method is for content verification. Yeah, P1 double equal to P2. Okay, let me print that content nicely. P1 double equal to P2. Here is what? P1 double equal to P2. That's good. Copy this, paste it. P2 double equal to P3. P2 double equal to P3. Super, guys. Right. Okay, let me compare. P1 double equal to P3. P1 double equal to P3. Are you understanding my statement? So shall I run this application? Okay, how many ways you will show that one object only created? How many time constructor executes? One time. And all the things will give same hash code. All the things will give same hash code. Perfect. All the things will give same hash code. Super guys. Check it out guys. Printer zero param constructor. How many times it is executing? Only one time. What is the hash code? Same hash code all the three times. That means all three reference are all three are reference variable pointing to same object. And see, whenever I do comparison, I'm getting what? True only. That means all these references are pointing to same object or not. Okay, you feel the manual flow once. You feel the manual flow once. I run the application. Control goes to which method? Main method. In the main method, first what is called? Printer dot get instant. First printer class is loaded, guys. Whenever class is loaded, static variables will be loaded. Static variable instance by default holds what? Null. Static variable instance by default holds what? Null, guys. Okay, fine. Static variable is loaded having value null. So now control going to get instance method. Is instance double equal to null? Yes. Is instance double equal to null? Default value null, null is there. Object is created, guys. Now null is replaced with the address of the printer object. In the instance variable, null is replaced with address of the printer object. Super guys. And return instance. Return instance. Object is created and object reference is written. That I am referring with P1. That I am referring with P1 or not. So P1 is pointing to single object that is created. P1 is pointing to single object that is created, guys. Super. Second time, printer dot get instance. Printer class is already loaded, boss. No question of loading static variables one more time. Directly get instance method executes. Control goes to get instance method, boss. Okay. Listen, instance is already holding address of the object, not the null. So it returns existing object reference. Okay, that I am referring with P2. So now P1, P2 both are referring to same object now, boss, indirectly. Super. Next, one more time get instance. Printer class is already loaded, directly goes to get instance method. Super. Directly goes to get instance method. Right now, boss? Okay, guys. Tell me, guys. Instance double equal to null. Instance double equal to null. No, it is not null, boss. It returns existing object reference. Now, P3 is pointing to the same thing or not? P3 is pointing to the same thing or not? I want reply, my dear. P3 is pointing to the same thing or not? I want reply. I hope you enjoyed, my dear. Come on, everyone. So we proved that singleton class is created here or not. If you check with equals method, content will be verified. Right now, no content, boss. So that's why no meaningless to use this. Yeah, check it out. Instance zero param constructor, same code is there here. Testing code, same code is there here now, boss. I have taken two reference variable and all this stuff, right? Okay, boss. Tell me next one. Some observations. One object, one object can have multiple references. One object can have multiple references. That's one point, guys. Next. Generally, we take static or final static variables. One reference can have only one object. Now, one reference can point to one object, but one object can have multiple references. One object can be pointed by multiple reference. That's a better wording, guys. Can be pointed by multiple reference variables. That sounds good. Generally, we take, come on, guys. DJ Tullu, why are you ignoring her? What I'm ignoring, boss? Are you ignoring? I'm not ignoring anything. And moreover, DJ Tullu, last warning, tomorrow onwards, try to log in with original name. Tomorrow, if you log in with the same name, I'm going to remove you from the meeting. Okay. If you are a DJ Tullu, then what I am? If you are a DJ Tullu, then what I am, guys? Brahmastra to kill you? DJ Tullu. Don't know basics of Java, but and moreover, listen, he has not asked any question, but he want his name to be highlighted. That's why he's pinging. Why are you ignoring my name? Why are you ignoring my name? Attention grabbers. Get attention in positive way, my dears. Don't put your energy in negative side. Generally, we take static or what? Final static variables in uppercase letters. What, guys? Uppercase letters. Uppercase letters. For differentiation, boss. Why do we do that? For differentiation. for differentiation. Okay, next one. Double equal to operator is given for references comparison. Okay, to check, like to check whether two references are two reference variables are pointing to same object or whether two reference variables are pointing to same object or. Understood my statement, guys? Come on. Right. Pointing to same object or. Yeah. Tell me next one. Equals method. Equals method is given for content comparison. Equals method is given for content comparison. Comparison, like to check, whether two objects of a Java class are having same content or. Okay, guys, same content or not. Understanding my statement, guys? Okay. Let's let it be, boss. Comparison. Fine. Don't worry about the spell. Hmm. Right, guys. Whenever class is loaded, boss, whenever class is loaded, static variable will be initialized, boss. Whenever class is loaded, the static variables will also be loaded, right? Will also be loaded and will be initialized with default values or initial values. Default values or initial values. Convinced with me, guys? Come on. Everyone understood, guys? Right. Now we understood Singleton Java class. Shall we go for Singleton scope now? In Spring Boot 5 point Spring, it is not Spring Boot, guys. It's my mistake. Right now we are learning Spring only. It's my mistake. Spring Boot version, latest version is still 3.x. Still 3.x only. Spring latest version is 6 point. Spring 5.x or 6.x. We have six scopes. We have six scopes of Spring Beans, guys. Fine. Okay. If no scope is given, default scope is what? Singleton. And these many days, did I use scope attribute in my applications? I completed 3-4 examples. Did I use scope anywhere? No. When I don't use scope, what is the default scope, guys? When I don't use scope, what is the default scope, guys? Come on. Default scope is singleton. So knowingly, unknowingly, these many days we kept our spring beans in which scope, guys? Singleton scope. Clear, my dear? Got it? Today we'll see at least some basics about singleton scope. At the rate scope, singleton, guys. It is the default scope for Spring Bean if no scope is specified. Super. In this scope, the IOC container create single object for Spring Bean class with respect to Bean ID and Spring Bean class. For Spring Bean class, per Bean ID, one object. Per Spring Bean class, per Bean ID, one object. Okay, guys. And keeps that object in the internal cache of IOC container. And let me say one thing, guys. Only singleton scope Spring Bean objects will be kept in internal cache for reusability because single object is created now. So that is kept in internal cache for reusability. To reuse that object across the multiple calls given to ctx.getBean method. ctx.getBean method having the same bean ID. Having the same bean ID. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Having the bean ID. Okay. And across the multiple injection. Across the multiple injections, across the multiple ctx.getBean method calls. Okay, with respect to bean class and bean ID, how many objects will be created, guys? Only one object. And how that object will be reused again and again? By keeping in internal cache. By simply keeping in internal cache. How can you prove this one right, sir? How can you prove this? Okay, default scope is singleton. So you take your first application or second application, whatever it is, guys. Copy, paste, perfect. So what is the project number? 7. Dependency injection, that's good. Here I am writing Spring Bean scopes, guys. Here I am writing the term Spring Bean scopes terminology. Perfect, guys. Okay, now listen. Go to SBeans, wish message generator. I always close the previous windows, guys, to avoid the confusion. Wish message generator. Here I am writing at the rate scope WMG. At the rate scope WMG. Clear, my dear? Sorry, my mistake. The double scope singleton. Array, other words are not allowed. Only those specific words are allowed. If you give WMG or some other one, it says invalid scope, guys. It simply says invalid scope. It simply says invalid scope, right? Yeah, it's a case sensitive. Case sensitive was. Okay. Now listen, how to prove only one object is created? How can you prove only one object is created? Listen carefully. Okay, let's go for perfect one, guys. Create IOC container. Annotation config application context ctx is equal to new annotation config application context. Okay, super. This is my ctx dot close, guys. Tell me how many times I'm calling this get beans method, guys. Get target spring bean class. Which message generator 1 is equal to ctx dot get bean wmg wish message generator dot class. Wish message generator 2 is equal to WMG, this one. How many times I call get bean method? Twice. What is the scope of wish message generator, guys? Singleton. Okay. Tell me, guys, with respect to this class and with respect to this bean ID, bean ID WMG, how many objects will be created, my dear? How many objects will be created, my dear? I want reply. Only one object, right? How many objects will be created, my dear? Only one object will be created. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Okay. How to prove only one object is created? How to prove only one object is created? Number one, by seeing the constructor execution. Number two, by printing the hash codes. Hash codes, first hash code, generator 2 dot hash code, guys. First hash code and second hash code. Super, guys. Next one. Sys out, guys. Generator 1 double equal to generator 2 question mark. Generator 1 double equal to generator 2. Generator 1 double equal to generator. Let me check whether I kept zero param constructor here. Let me check whether I kept zero param constructor here for reference purpose, guys. Okay, one zero param constructor is kept. Dependency injection test, guys. Forget about remaining business method invocation and all this stuff. Right now, my focus is not on that, guys. Yes, dependency injection test, my dear. Okay. Tell me how many times the constructor is executed for wish message generator? Only for one time. Only for one time, right? Okay. 137, 137. Hash codes are coming. Generator 1, generator 2. Both are pointing to same reference variable. Okay, sir, that's fine. First, okay. When IOC container is created, all singleton scope spring beans are pre-instantiated. How can you prove that, guys? Listen carefully. When object is created, when you call first get bean method or second get bean method, not for both, guys. Not for both. When IOC container is created, all singleton scope spring beans are pre-instantiated. That means eagerly instantiated. Check it out. Here itself object is created or not. And that object is kept in internal cache. That object is automatically kept in internal cache. Come on, guys. So the object that is kept in internal cache used first time, retrieved first time for first get bean method call, retrieved second time for second get bean method call. Like this, by creating single object and keeping that single object in internal cache, so it will be used across the multiple ctx dot get bean method calls or not. It will be used across the multiple ctx dot get bean method calls or not. I want reply, my dear. Come on. So see, singleton. Here, what is the one I should highlight? Singleton on the top of the class. Here, boss, on the at the rate bean method also we can keep singleton. Singleton, guys. So all these objects will be kept in internal cache now, boss. Internal cache of the IOC container. And observe, only singleton scope spring beans participate in pre or eager or early instantiation. And they also will be kept in the internal cache of IOC container for reusability. Only singleton scope beans will participate in pre-instantiation. Nothing but eager instantiation. And they will be kept in internal cache for reusability. They will be kept in internal cache for reusability. Now I'm asking one question. Does my singleton scope making a Spring Bean class as singleton Java class? Is my singleton scope making singleton Spring Bean as singleton Java class? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because of singleton scope. Is it internally adding private constructor? Behaves like a singleton Java class, but does it making my Spring Bean as singleton Java class, real singleton Java class? Is there any private constructor in my wish message generator? Did I keep any static factory method in singleton, my Spring Bean wish message generator? Did I take any static reference variable? No, na. That's the beauty, boss. That's the beauty. Though class is not singleton, but it makes class behaving like a singleton. That's the specialty of the singleton scope. That's the specialty of the. Without putting much efforts, we can bring the effect of singleton. We can bring the effect of singleton without making class as singleton Java class. Is it not interesting, Rababu? Is it not interesting aspect or not? Okay, gives the same hash code, gives true. Okay, I'm also getting local date time for multiple times right now, boss. Gives the same hash code, gives the same hash code, right? Okay, whenever you go for with respect to bean ID, see the question. Does the singleton scope make Spring Bean class as singleton Java class? No. Our Spring Bean class does not become singleton Java class, but it makes the IOC container to create single object for Spring Bean class with respect to Bean ID. Without making Java class as singleton Java class, we can make the Spring Bean class uh, just having just having one object. Only one object. Just having only one object. Just having only one object. Through singleton scope of IOC container. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. What's the specialty of singleton scope? It does not make Java class as singleton class. But it makes class behaving like a singleton class with respect to bean class and bean ID. How many objects will be created? One object. So is it not interesting? Without putting a lot of efforts to make a Java class as singleton class, we can bring the similar effect. We can bring the similar effect by taking the Spring Bean scope as singleton, by taking the Spring Bean scope as singleton. So it is when should I take Spring Bean class as singleton scope Spring Bean, guys? If Spring Bean class is not having any stata or data, that means no member variables are there, empty class, guys. Instead of creating multiple empty objects, create one empty object and use it for multiple times. Spring Bean class is having only fixed state or date. Only final variables are there. Final variables are fixed variable. They contain fixed values. Instead of creating multiple objects with fixed data, instead of creating multiple objects with fixed data, come on, guys. You create one object and having fixed data and use it for multiple times. If Spring Bean class is having shareable state or data, or instead of creating multiple objects with the same data, shareable state means same state, create one object having that state and use it for multiple times. Come on, guys. When should I take Spring Bean class as singletons scope Spring Bean? When Spring Bean is not having state, when Spring Bean is having fixed state, when Spring Bean is having shareable state. when Spring Bean is having shareable state. Are you getting my point there, guys? Understanding my statement? So three important points, guys. Only singleton scope Spring Bean participate in early instantiation. You call get bean, you don't call get bean. The moment container is started, all singleton scope bean Spring Bean objects will be created. Perfect. Next, number two. Singleton scope Spring Bean objects will be kept in internal cache of IOC container for reusability. Either creating only one object means what? That object should be reused or not. That object must be reused. When you take scope as singleton scope for Spring Bean, okay, Java class does not become singleton Java class, but it behaves like a singleton class. It gives the effect of singleton's class with respect to, by creating single object with respect to what? Bean ID and bean class. With respect to bean ID and bean class. I hope you understood, guys. So now tell me, guys, singleton scope and singleton behavior, both are singleton class and singleton scope, both are same or different? Both are different. Both are different. In Spring, without developing Spring Bean class as a singleton, if you want to bring the similar effect through IOC container, you have to take Spring Bean as singleton scope Spring Bean. You have to take Spring Bean as singleton scope Spring Bean. Is that clear, my dear? I want reply. Thank you, guys. We'll meet tomorrow and we'll talk more about